Vítejte v Saleshero Podcastu, kde měníme pohled na prodej. Přidejte se k nám na zajímavé rozhovory, nové poznatky a inspiraci pro váš biznis. Moderují Alexandra Rajman a Fares Měchura ze Saleshero, prvního českého sales podcastu plného užitečných rad a zkušeností. Více informací najdete na www.saleshero.cz. Připravte se odhalit svůj prodejní potenciál a pusťte se do toho.
Ahoj všem, dneska máme speciální díl. Náš kamarád a klient z Dallasu sice umí česky, ale o biznisu radši mluví v angličtině. A Fares a já taky, takže to je jeden díl, který bude v angličtině příjemný poslech. Hi everyone and welcome to our new episode. Today we're joined by Tom Kent, CEO of CareerNerds, who has mastered the art of LinkedIn lead generation. He will disclose the secrets behind building a 7-figure business solely through LinkedIn and uncover the misconceptions surrounding sales on the platform and many more. Ahoj Tome, čau.
Ahoj, čau, díky za pozvánku.
Jsme rádi, že seš tady. A teď asi anglicky.
Jo. Can we switch to English for business? Yeah.
Yes.
All right, great.
Tom, how long have you been in Prague?
So I moved here 10 years ago, and I had a big change in my life, and I decided I lived in Europe when I was stationed in the army in Italy, and I also studied in Germany, and I thought, hey, I'm a Czech citizen. My parents are from Prague, so I wanted to move back to Europe, and I've been here for 10 years now. Yeah.
So your origins are from the Czech Republic?
Yeah, both my parents left from Prague to Canada. I was born in Canada, but I grew up in Texas.
Wow, excellent. So CareerNerds, whenever I was hearing the story of CareerNerds, I was like, wow, this is an amazing business. This is unbelievable story, how you've managed to build a 7-figure business.
US dollar 7-figure, not crowns.
Exactly. And only by using LinkedIn as a platform.
Yeah.
Right. But before we jump to that interesting story, what are you doing actually with CareerNerds? Who do you help?
I had this special talent from getting out of the Army. I went to West Point, and then when I got out of the Army, I moved back to Dallas. I was stationed in Korea and Italy, and I had not been in the U.S. for several years, and I was looking for a job, and I had a great degree, but I realized it takes a lot of work to find a good job in the location you want. And I started networking and developing my personal brand, and over the next 20 years, I was in 14 different roles, got to be CMO twice, and I had this skill set that I showed hundreds of people how to tap in the hidden job market, and how to really network with decision makers in the right way to get those top-level jobs. And 5 years ago, I was at an inflection point. I knew I could get another job, but I thought, I really want to start my own business, and I want to start a coaching business, helping other people do the same things that I did. So that was really why I started CareerNerds.
So are you saying that you were excellent at hunting new jobs for yourself?
Absolutely. I think I had hundreds of interviews in my life. I got probably 100 offers, and I liked going for interviews. I liked networking, and I did it all the time, and I showed people how to do it. And then I thought, hey, why don't I make a business out of this?
So how it happened that, can you share us the story of CareerNerds? Like how you were able to build this business, and why LinkedIn?
Yeah. So I started CareerNerds 5 years ago, and my biggest problem as a business owner, you all know, is finding clients. And I thought, I want to coach. I don't want to do sales. And I thought, and someone told me a great piece of advice. When you're starting a business, it's 80-20, 80% sales, 20% on execution, because you have to master the sales process. And so I thought, okay, it's not about coaching. It's really about client acquisition. How do I get the clients through an effective sales process? And I tried a lot of things. I tried going to my warm network, people that I knew, contacting them. I got a few clients there, but it wasn't scalable. Then I tried going to Facebook groups. And then I thought, well, what if I write people on LinkedIn? And I started this process of finding how to target the right people and how to message them. And it took me about 5 or 6 months. And then on the 6th month, I signed up 18 clients in 1 month, which was 3 or 4 times more as I did the month before. And I thought, okay, I've cracked the code. Then I hired an agency that was able to do my same process, use the same scripts, and now we have a full team in-house that does our LinkedIn lead gen.
And can we tap in a little bit into the messages? What kind of messages you were sending them?
So a lot of people have misconceptions. They think LinkedIn is overwhelmed with spam from people trying to sell something. And that's true. It's like spam on email, spam on LinkedIn. But our messages have very high conversion rates of being read. And there's a few things that we do that a lot of people don't do. We make them very short. So it's 3 or 4 sentences. We also personalize it with their company name. And also we focus on 2 or 3 points of commonality when we send the message. So really it's a 3-step process. Commonality, say something nice about them. And the third thing is a call to action. What is the call to action? For our case is, are you seeking a new job in the next 12 months? That's a very clear call to action. If it's yes, then we invite them for a conversation.
So you took 5 to 6 months only to figure out what those messages are. Testing. Then you delegated that. Did you automate it?
So we didn't use automation software for a long time. We are starting to use it now. But basically, if you have the same process, then other people, we had virtual assistants in Serbia that were doing this, yeah.
So what you're saying is you can scale a business to pretty big numbers without automation.
Absolutely. I mean, right now what we do is we use 4 LinkedIn profiles from our 2 coaches, sales guy and me, and collectively every day we send 200 messages. And let me tell you what the result is. So from 200 messages, and this includes reminders, right? So this isn't just one-offs. We have a whole sequence of messages that we send because, Grant Cardone says fortune is in follow-up. So we're doing follow-ups and people appreciate them. They always say, hey, thanks for following up. I didn't have time to look at the previous message, but now I am looking. So 200 messages a day, including follow-ups. That results in 50 people every single week getting on group sales calls. So we hold about 4 or 5 of these a week. And from that, we have a 60% conversion rate into one-on-one calls with our sales team. And from that, we have a 25% conversion rate from one-on-one sales calls to signed clients.
Wow.
And when it comes to the follow-ups, how many follow-ups you do per one person? Let's imagine that I'm your target audience and you're sending me the first message, a personalized message. I'm ghosting you.
And sorry, just your target audience are executives, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we target busy executives who mid-career, average age is like 40 to 65, people who are director and above, and are looking for the next big job. How many messages do we target? So we have 2 sequence of messages. We have about 5 follow-up messages, and then for my profile, we have a series of 10 messages. So and also one thing, I have a business coach. He looked at my messages. This was like a year and a half ago. And he said, you're just messaging people once a year. Now we do it every 3 days. So we have this steady sequence. And once we've messaged them, then the 5 to 7 for most profiles, then we move on to somebody else's profile.
Wow. So this is exactly for our audience because, when we coach our clients and when we are telling them, hey, you have to do follow-ups, minimum 3 messages, up to 5, like on LinkedIn, they're saying like, oh, but am I not going to bother this person? He's not going to, block me or, speak badly about me. And I'm saying like, no, if you're targeting the right person, actually your buyer persona, and you're relevant, and you're providing a value.
So let's talk about that because I talk about that with my team as well. And one of our core offerings is we do LinkedIn outreach for our clients, for 100% of our clients. So we've done LinkedIn outreach for now 500 people. And they always ask me this question, what's the right amount of follow-ups? I say, if you aren't getting every week somebody saying, stop bugging me, you're not doing enough. And that usually doesn't even happen, right? So occasionally, maybe once or twice a month, I'll say, wow, you sent a lot of messages. And I do a screenshot, I send it to my team. I say, team, great job. We're getting complaints because if you're not getting, people are conditioned to behave like socially correct, right? But the thing is, in sales, you kind of have to break some patterns, right? We're not bugging them, but the thing is, you have to bug some people in order to have the right amount of follow-ups, right? So if nobody's complaining, then you're really underrepresenting yourself on the follow-ups.
Yeah, and I have always a saying for that also by saying like, look, who is here the guilty guy? The one that is asking a question or the one that doesn't answer?
Yeah.
Right? So, because like to me, a logical thing is if someone comes and asks me politely for something, I should give them an answer. even if it's a rejection, it is an answer. But just keeping my mouth shut or not replying, I mean, it means I'm the person actually who is not doing their job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when it comes to the LinkedIn approach, how much or what is the role of a nice, polished profile?
Yeah. So the profile is really the starting point, because one beautiful thing about LinkedIn that's different than email, when you send email, you actually have to send probably more background about yourself, because if you're sending to somebody who doesn't know you, then there's no way that they can look unless they look it up on. But on LinkedIn, they can switch to your profile. So with our clients and with our team, we start with a profile. So having a customized banner that has a few images that really highlights what you stand for. I always tell people you have 7 seconds to make a first impression on LinkedIn. That's it, 7 seconds. So you want to make sure that you have all the things in the headline, you're in the banner, but also the headline. It's 220 characters. So you want to quantify it, have high value and relevancy. And so you can tell a story in those 220 characters. What most people do is they might have director of sales, and that's it. Well, of what? What industry? What specialty? What can you do for me? Everybody's coming to your profile looking, what's in it for me? And if you don't give them the information, if you bury it in the experience or in the about section, now we do optimize those, but the headline is the most important. That's really above the fold what someone sees. Those 220 characters are a gold mine for getting good responses.
So what kind of things you would recommend actually to have in the headline?
Well, first, your title should probably be the first thing, like director of sales or something. Then who are the clients that you're serving, right? So we have some clients that are doing sales for IBM into maybe automotive or different industries. So putting what you're doing, then putting numbers of what is the value to them or what your experience, building your credibility. And like on my profile, I have that we've worked with over 600 military academy execs, that we've also helped people that have been at Google, Facebook, Amazon, Tesla. And it's so funny when I put those names, that's good for credibility, but then people come to me and say, I don't want to work at Google or Facebook. I'm like, that's just an example.
But what you're saying there, you become unique. You're becoming the only person and organization in the world that does that. Nobody else exists in that space. And then one question, if I'm an entrepreneur, what's in the title? Owner, CEO? It just goes by the highest thing that signals seniority? What should I put there?
Actually, I put my title in the name. Mm-hmm. So my name's Tom Kent. I put that in the first block, and then the second one, or I put Tom in the first block, and then Kent, CEO, CareerNerds. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I put the title in the name block, and then in the headline, I have, we help top service academy grads make great career moves.
Okay.
So I actually put what's in it for them in the headline, not my title there. So that's a trick you can either do. Either put start the headline with the title or put it in your name, and then right after that have what's in it for them.
I think it's a fantastic trick, and thanks for teaching us. We adopted that, and what I see, especially when I comment on others, it attracts people because there's always sales hero, and it gets them then to see, they get exposure to the brand for free.
Yeah, that's a great tactic to put your company name into the name title because it's bigger and bolder, and it really stands out. Yeah.
And when it comes to your now sales process, can we go like step by step to maybe inspire our audience on how you are, reaching out to clients and then, of course, turning them into a paying clients?
Yeah. So when I first started, I would offer free coaching, and I quickly realized that the free coaching didn't necessarily convert, because you're offering them free value and then they're saying, okay, I'm great. So a sales call is different than a free coaching call, right? And so I quickly learned, okay, I need to sell how it works, but not show them how it works. Because if I show them how, then they'll say, okay, I know enough. So you just give them a little peek behind the curtain, but you got to be careful about not turning into a coaching call. So I quickly realized that. And then for 3 years, I did a lot of one-on-one coaching calls. And I was always surprised that people bought from me because I'm like, they don't even know what they're getting really because we have a full program, but people buy from other people. They buy from people they like and people that have the energy. And so I had that. And I did that for 3 years, but that was a different methodology than if I was going to scale it. And when I started 2 years ago, thinking, okay, I want to scale this sales system beyond just me, because my calendar was booked up for the next month always. Nobody could get on my calendar because I was doing one-on-one calls. So I brought on 7 part-time people. They were all academy grads that had some extra time. And I said, okay, we're going to do LinkedIn lead generation from your profiles, and you're going to close deals. Just look at how I'm doing it, and then you do it. It wasn't the best way to do it, but there was one guy that did really well, and he's now our main sales guy. It took 50 sales calls before he closed one deal, and now we built the whole sales team around him. And he became really good at selling. So we hired a series of sales coaches that helped us. And the first one that I brought on board, he said, Tom, you're spending way too much time on one-on-one calls. Because I was still doing most of the sales, even though he was on our team. And he said, you need to go to group sales calls. And I was like, what? Group sales calls? I've done it like this for 3.5 years. How does that work? And so I totally redesigned the process where people cannot book a one-on-one call with us anymore. They have to go into a group call. We usually have about 5 to 10 people, and we have a slide deck that explains our process in 10 minutes. And then we have group Q&A, and the call to action at the end is a one-on-one call with our sales team.
What stands out to me is how methodical you are. You look at data, you collect them, and you are very patient. You test things for a couple of months until they work. You give them time and space. The same thing with bringing on a salesperson. You test it with 5, and then with the one guy, you went for 50 one-on-one calls until you worked out how he can close a deal. I think that's pretty cool. And how many sales coaches did you have, and what's the latest that you are doing?
So I think in total we've had 3rd, and the third one is you, Alex. Alex works with us every month, a couple times a month, working with our sales team. And what's really interesting is that we actually had 3 iterations of building the sales team. So the first one was the 7 people, and then we had that Alan who became the superstar, and we built it around him. Then we had another iteration where I went with a sales recruiter and got 3 people that were not academy grads that had already been great salespeople. They were all good, but we had to whittle down to 1. And then eventually that person didn't work out, so I had to let him go. And then I started building the 3rd iteration. And then I found that within my team, 2 of my coaches actually were really good at selling. And it was actually your advice, Alex, that you said when we started working together, you said you need to hire another Alan. And because Alan's an academy grad, he had time and bandwidth. And in my mind, when we had the team building with the whole team, Miguel came from the US, and I thought maybe Miguel could do it. And that's what sparked it. So Miguel's our 2nd, and then our 3rd is another person on our team, John.
Thank you.
So if I'm correctly understanding, like the first step was, you tested the water on your own. So you were struggling to find what is the right message.
Yeah.
And then the second step, you built first a team of coaches and then make them selling. So first you went like fulfillment and delivery, right? And then you go like sales.
So that was the big thing. For 3 years, I was always struggling. Do I build a sales team or the coaching team? Because I was doing both, right? And then I signed up with 2X, which is a coaching company based in Austin, Texas. And they said the first thing always is build your capacity on the coaching side, and then you can scale the sales. Because if you build sales first, you'll have nobody to fulfill. You'll be overwhelmed. So I already knew some coaches that worked at West Point, and I built the coaching team in 1 quarter. So the delivery side was actually much quicker. The sales process and building a sales team took over a year, maybe a year and a half, because sales is the hardest thing to scale up. If you're doing founder-led sales, to have other people have the credibility and the process. But it was a journey, and now we're working, and things are going well every week. Yeah.
All right. And how you're picking your salespeople? Because that's also fail and try, in my opinion.
Actually, try and error. That's right. So from the 7, there was one guy that he was really passionate about it. Alan wanted to be a coach. He had his own small coaching business, but he didn't have clients. And he thought, maybe I'll learn from CareerNerds. And very quickly, within a few months, he decided, wow, this is a lot of work to build a coaching business. I'll just be a sales guy for CareerNerds. And then the other people were my coaches that I thought had good presence and could talk to clients, because you have to establish a rapport very quickly, deliver the message, and it's a half an hour call. So you have to be quite succinct and you can't be long-winded.
Mm-hmm. So you have now your sales team, actually your sales coaches, right, in-house.
So Alex is our sales coach.
Yeah.
And he coaches us, our team. So like a fractional sales manager.
Sales manager. Excellent, excellent. And when it comes to the sales team, they're centralized or decentralized? When it comes like to the sales team, they're sitting like with you guys, like in the office, or they're somewhere else?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so our team is in all different countries. I'm the only one here in Czech Republic.
Okay.
Yeah, so most of our team is in Bosnia. We have 7 people there. Then we have one person in Slovenia and one person in Montenegro. And then we have the U.S. coaches in the U.S. So actually, Alan is in Spain. He's American Air Force Academy grad. And then the other 2 people that do sales are also in the U.S.
So what you're saying is like these business developers, or let's say the people that are doing the outreach, they're sitting here in Europe.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And they're doing business in the States.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is another big interesting moment, because many times like we're debating here with, let's say, not just our clients, but even people outside. Can you build a business in the US, but pitching from Europe or from Prague, from the Czech Republic?
Well, so there's a caveat. I am from Dallas, and my profile says Dallas. Alan lives in Spain. His profile has, I think it's Raleigh or somewhere in the U.S., right? So if your profile, so my official address is in Dallas. I have 2, Prague and Dallas. If it said Prague, I probably wouldn't have the business I have now, because Americans are very national-centric. They want to buy from other Americans. But when I did marketing in San Francisco, I wanted to hire San Francisco agencies. When I lived in New York, I wanted to hire New York. So we're very regional, right? So Americans would consider buying a product from Europe, but you have to do a lot more work to bridge that gap. So it is easier if I do have Dallas,
Excellent. And is there, let's say, how do you delegate the processes and everything what you have built to yourself, like let's say to the salespeople, so they know to follow exactly what you've been doing?
So I learned the hard way. When you tell people, hey, watch the way I do calls and do it like that, they won't be able to do it, because nobody is you, right? Nobody has the credibility, the background. I had coached already hundreds of people, and the salespeople didn't have that background. So I had all the stories I could tell. So after failing with some other people that I had on board, I was told by my business coach, you need to devise a 1-page sales script and a very good slide deck for the group calls. So we worked 6 months on this. We have a 1-page sales script that is a guide for the sales team to follow. And also we are very regimented. We have a HubSpot, and we log every single interaction. Every email goes in there. And so we can track all the numbers, and we have pipeline reviews every week to track that.
Oh, so you built yourself, let's say, an internal documentation, like with processes, and you're just giving them to the people, and you just just follow it.
Yeah, we actually do that with everything. So we have a term, it's called SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, and we have a SOP document for every single task that is done more than once. So we probably have something like 50 to 70 SOPs. Every single task that's done more than once is documented. Owner, what's the definition of done, and what are the steps to do that? And we have a primary owner, secondary owner, and third owner if someone is out. So every single process in the company is done like that, and that's why things can go smoothly.
And you mentioned the term pipeline review. Could you maybe explain why it's such a thing that owners should pay attention to do pipeline review to control sales? What has that done to your business?
Yeah, so obviously you have expenses, you have fixed and variable expenses, but how do you pay for them? You pay for them from the cash that comes in the company, the income that comes. And if you don't have a predictable way of knowing what's going to come in, then you really don't have a good control of your business. And that's why we started working with you, Alex, is we we were doing pipeline reviews, but I'm not an expert in sales management. And I thought, hey, I need an expert to help us because I'm sort of doing this by gut feel, but I don't have really the systematized process of doing a pipeline review. And it's really helped in a lot of things, like keeping people on track, accountable for their numbers, and also keeping the motivation, because salespeople, their motivation goes up and down because they're basing it on their external results, but they need to keep motivated no matter what the situation is.
Okay.
Tom, thank you very much for this beautiful conversation. For me, the biggest takeout is systematize your business, have all the processes in place. The second thing, polish your LinkedIn profile. And the third thing is, when you write a message to a person on LinkedIn, follow up.
That's right.
Always
lots of follow up.
Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
This was our guest, Tom Kent, CEO of CareerNerds. He's helping top-level executives master the art of career switching and find new opportunities. And we have learned from him what is the essence of building a big business when you're the owner. You have to sell, and you need to master the art of follow-ups, and you need to experiment and take ownership of that. If you would like to get in touch with Tom Kent, you can find him on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Děkujeme, že jste si poslechli další díl podcastu Saleshero. Aby vám žádný díl neunikl, dejte prosím follow na Spotify a Apple Podcasts. Budeme rádi za zpětnou vazbu. Můžete nás kontaktovat přes LinkedIn nebo naši webovou stránku www.saleshero.cz. Těšíme se příště naslyšenou nebo na viděnou.